Welcome, gamers. So we're here today with the Felice. It is a tier 9 Italian medium. Although it's an Italian medium, it kind of plays like a heavy, where it's got relatively good turret armor, where it'll be, at least be effective against lower tiers and same tiers up until the point people start firing gold. Then it has, really no hull armor. It's not the fastest of tanks either. So it kind of plays in this weird role where it also gets like a 500. Is it 530? What's the gun on it? No, 490 alpha, but pretty beefy alpha, especially for a medium. Unfortunately, its gun handling is also very potato. And well, we had 2 games in the same stream where we were able to get 10k combined. In the first one, we got 9.5k damage with 1,000 spotting. Could have been a 10,000 damage game, but for a couple of missed shots. In the second one, we relied completely on basically its spotting ability in a proc match. But 2 different ways to get a lot of production. That said, although both games were very beefy and were definitely very good games, I just want to make it clear, the Felice is not a particularly good tank. So although we were able to make it very effective in these 2 particular occasions, if it's ever up for sale, this isn't necessarily the tank that I'm recommending that you pull out the checkbook for to immediately try to purchase. It can be fun, but oftentimes it's very frustrating, and that's because the tank is just held back by its gun handling. When you hit your shells, you can have a good time, but more often than not, you're not going to hit. Although it does get kind of a pretty 3D style with it, with kind of like the Vikings themed. It's really not the greatest tank, despite the 2 games that we have to showcase here. Did not like being called out for being kind of a useless potato. All right. So I'm going to take our vision build. It is tier 10, so not necessarily the greatest way to start it, but at least there's no tier 11s. And hopefully with the vision build, we can kind of spot for ourselves a little bit, even if our light tanks are, not necessarily the best. Let's go. Sorry, doing some adjusting. So unfortunately, I don't have multiple monitors. I just have one enormous monitor. Means it takes a little while to get situated. Yay. So when we do get 100 spotting, our CVS is actually being kind of effective there. Let's see if we can be a little bit more aggressive as far as spotting goes. We can. Need to back off from that. I wish I could have rammed him. He's all dead with that Tessac there. If I could have rammed him, that would have been ideal, but we don't have a turbo with this build, so we're not quite the fastest. The Felice without a turbo is goes 40. It's basically a heavy tank. It does get medium tank camo though. It's kind of wild that we were out spotting a light tank, considering really the only stuff that we have on this that makes us, effective as it is CBS. You just gonna sit there? He is. What a kind gentleman. He's got someone behind him too. Spot that guy out as well. Doesn't look like it. I do need to be careful. Although I am a medium tank, I'm not necessarily the sneakiest of medium tanks. Even with our equipment, we are not carrying low noise. Okay. That's kind of unlucky. So what would be phenomenal is if I could get 1,100 more spotting, so that way my communication expert kicks in. And what that does is it gives me basically an enhanced brothers in arms. Makes my tank better in every regard. Whether it's spotting, camo, DPM, gun handling. All the good stuff. Looks like they're bleeding a lot for that. At least the E75 is. I don't know if it necessarily needs me to relocate to try to farm them from like back here where the ooze is. Their T100's down to 500 some HP, which is good. They're pushing town, even though they're bleeding so much. I think I do actually need to farm that. If the moss will move in position, I can get some free farm. Should be able to farm out that T95 where he is sitting as well. Oh, he's less oblivious. Actually have a better angle from here. So Felice gun handling is pretty derpy. Like this is even with the better reticle mod. Like as you can see, like the reticle is still kind of huge. Oof. So a little annoying. That is not a smart peek on their part. Need heat for his upper plate. But yeah, I have a pretty decent turret though. Basically gets heavy tank turret armor, heavy tank speed, but medium tank camo, and heavy tank gun handling. Maybe even worse than heavy tank gun handling. So they try to balance the tank by, yeah, it gets quite a bit of alpha, especially for a medium, but its gun handling is bad. I need you to fall back so I can farm him. Yeah. I couldn't get reloaded in time to finish off the T-44 because I was intuition switching for the Kari. Alright, our best bet as far as pushing is just to clear the town. Moss also has a lot of HP, so I'd love to hopefully not get punished for this. We can go 3v1 on the Moss, who kind of has not the greatest of DPM. As I'm driving to help assist. He does have so much HP though. They can't afford just to throw HP to him. Now it needs to be 3v1 time. We can keep him jebaited here. That's what you need to do. He was isolated, so he's the easy pick. Unlucky for him, there's nothing you can do about it either. So we're full health. We're up to 3,700 damage. 600 some spotting. Pretty good first game of the stream. Let's keep it up. Certainly a lot more for us to try to get, especially spotting wise. Though we do still have a Tessac that I would kind of be competing with. He's one shot, so kind of the ideal situation for me. This is pretty terrible. Is for that Tessac to get blapped, so that way I can get more of the assists for spotting. And that appears to be what happened. Ay, ay, ay. We actually have no one mid though, which is not ideal. I would love for someone there to be mid while I'm trying to make the spotting run. Instead, we have a TS that's, or 122 that's middle. Ay, ay, ay. And that is Felice gun handling at its finest, as you can see. Yeah, we need to get this 122 out though. He's our spotter. We kill him. We can try to take advantage of the bush, though I do have to be careful I don't take one through that bush. So they can definitely get an angle to punish me there. Alright. We need to go dark. And he's probably gonna get punished. Yep, I don't know why he was doing that. Oof. An intuition switch for 288 damage? Piss off. I can't see the grill. He's outside of my view range.
Support my position. Much obliged.
The Oots figured out what I wanted from him. I want someone to get in the middle so that way when I light these guys, they get farmed. Fortunately, I can't chat it out because of a 28 in one of our earlier games got upset being called the twat. Alright, so he's getting into position. I'm gonna push as soon as he is. So I'm gonna try to use this corpse as a shield in case I do get spotted here early. Really?
I'm in your debt.
It's not. You let a girly out in the open and no gives him a shot? That's not a good sign. It's not the greatest of signs. Thank you. That's the Oods, so I appreciate that. He's the one person that had a brain. So I'm struggling to find the gun depression at that particular spot. Maybe I can have more luck here. I should be able to. So I've got him down to one shot. I should also have an angle on the grilly from here.
Enemy armor is damaged. Much obliged.
Grilly goes through my turret because, you know, he just doesn't really give a AF. He is tier 10. You know, at the end of the day, I am a tier 9 medium. Holy crap. I'm gonna try to pick this girly. He needs to be the focus. He's the scariest guy here. Though the WZ hasn't been spotted for a while. I mean, it's wild that they're sitting back so much, but it's letting me dish out the damage is what it's doing. I need to focus on the Char while I can be hold down. We're up to 7,200 damage in our first game. And we have more farm here. We're up to 7,700. It's going to be 8,000 damage game. Maybe worthy of a YouTube video? $8,100. Use your armor, dude. Be effective. So that way I can get more farm. And that is a 9,000 damage game. That's pretty disgusting. 10,000 combined. Yeah. That's World of Tanks having mercy on me for what was our Sunday stream. Oh, good God. Alright, so we get the Ace Tanker. And we get... Ooh, that is a ton of credits. Good Lord. Okay. About 100,000 was from our mission. Still, that is a bountiful amount of credits. Proc. Well, not necessarily the greatest tank for proc, but we can try. That is a lot of heavies too. That is a lot of heavies on proc. I wish I actually had some semblance of gun handling. Is there a light tank? There's not a light tank. Muy interesante. So I can try to use my my spotting build and hopefully be more effective with it. In that case, I'm gonna be a spotter. Alright, I'm trying to go spot out some very slow heavies in the Type 4, a Tiger Mouse Emotion. Ooh, if I can get the spotting for that, that will be glorious. So we do have CVS, we do have our bounty optics. Hopefully that will assist. I think this concept is trying to do the same thing we're about to do though. I'm actually going to be a tad bit more aggressive and use my turret armor as best I can. So that bat chat is just a bait. Looking his direction and then taking shots from these guys on the line is not the play. Okay, he's here. Yeah. I don't know what he thinks he's accomplishing. That's not really how you spot on this map. Oh boy. Well, Tiger Mouse is now basically in our line of fire, or our line of vision. So he's competing with whatever spotting we get, which is not ideal. That's not my spotting either, unfortunately. Please, that is my spotting. I'm sharing it with the Tiger Mouse, though, unfortunately. Yeah. Brother Todd, how's it going? We're about the same. We're at 90.82, something like that. .46. Okay. All right, now we're getting some spotting. There we go. We should get communications expert here as well. So our CBS is paying off. Our gun handling is certainly not. We're up to 3,344 spotting. There's a lot of HP still to be had, so we just need to not int out. We do have communications expert, so we are getting like an enhanced brothers in arms here.
Fall back from there.
Oh hell no! This is my spotting. So what I do need to be cognizant of is that WZ. This guy in particular, he's got enough alpha to shred me, and I'm one shot to him. And he has plenty of pen to go through my turret, even if I'm hold down. He does not give a F. T95 is YOLOing. At this point, I kind of just want to play off him. Except he's not able to spot anyone. See if he can die, that would be phenomenal. There's another guy here. First spotting, certainly is. F. Though we do spot the leopard, we needed that. Good. Alright, so we're up to 5,700 spotting. There's still more HP to be had. Like, there's still 10,000 HP in the game. There's still a lot of heavies that are here on the one line. So the right spotting play is, instead of kind of continuing to push up the bush line, is actually to get in the middle. The problem is that because we're one shot, like, they can just poke and dig us out. But if you're a light tank, once you get past here, go to the middle. You have a ridge line that's protecting you from the left. You have a ridge line protecting you from the right. Like you're in cover. You might not feel like it because of the elevation. So that's how you play this line when you're spotting. Just FYI. A lot of people like to stay in the ridge line, then you're sitting on top of a hill, you're exposed, and people just blap you across the field. You just need to get down. Though you know, playing this way, you might take someone from the back line who pokes, but he's also exposing himself to do that. I can't really afford to do it because I'm one shot, but that's the right way to do the things. And then what you do is once you get unlit, you can knock down one of the trees, you're double bushed, you're spotting, you know, through the bush and the bush line plus the tree, you poke the ridge, back off, and you're back in cover. So one of the most infuriating things about proc is your light tank digs out their light tank and then stays in the bush line instead of just getting down to the dip, and then gets himself inted even after the game's pretty much won. Yeah, that WZ is in the back too. That concerns me. We could try to be more aggressive once the WZ gets picked. This is heat pen versus this thing's turret. Basically makes this thing not have a turret. Or I could try to be more aggressive. So M103 is here. Everything else, though, they still have a YAG. Good. All right, I'm gonna try it. I'll show you what I mean by trying to play in the dip. Though, granted, like I'm a big ass medium. That's a heavy. So, you know, don't hold it against me if I just get, you know, punished here because I'm not necessarily in the best tank to do it in. If I was in a light, nimble light tank. But hopefully I can kind of give you an idea of what I was talking about. So I'm in the dip. I didn't get spotted. I had the elevation. Then I poke. I back up. He never spots me. I like the WZ as well. Flap. Now, I think the YAG's actually over here in the back. We're up to 7,200 spotting. Oh, there's the till. He's full health. Bless him. And he is donating it to me for spotting. Got 'ems. Got all of 'ems. We're up to 8,000 some spotting. Again, this guy does not care about my turret armor. He fired though, so I'm looking for his commander's hatch. Not needed. Picked. I get the spotting. Up to 9,300 spotting on proc with 800 damage kept W, and we're up to 93%. Very good game. We played that pretty well. It's efficient patience. And also the advantage of having CVS versus none of their tanks having CVS. We actually get a mastery badge with 800 damage. Now we had a blind shot on somebody. Muy interesante. So how much do we get? Hey, hey Vorkon, what do you think? 10K game? Question mark? We had 10,700 combined. All right, I'm not Sayer, second 10. All right, guys, I hope that was hope you guys enjoyed those two videos. Thankfully, we were able to get those two beefy games on the same stream, so that was kind of fun. At one point, we got up to just under 94% with those two 10K games, and then dropped back down to basically 92% throughout the course of the rest of our play, which is a little bit frustrating. But anywho, thank you for joining us, and Crusader Lawyer out. Thanks, guys.